The community thought they had seen it all when a billionaire's son was declared dying. Every maiden dreamed of becoming his wife, yet no one was willing to save him until a poor crippled stranger stood up to save the life of a billionaire's son, and uncovered a secret nobody expected. Hello wonderful viewers. Welcome back to African Tales by Icom. I'm so happy to have you here again. Thank you for always watching and supporting these touching stories. Please don't forget to like this video, drop your comments, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means so much and helps us continue sharing more inspiring stories with you. Thanks. In a quiet town of Oji, there lived a billionaire known as Chief Peter. Unlike many wealthy men, his true joy was not in cars or mansions, but in helping people. He built hospitals where the poor were treated for free. He gave scholarships to children who had no hope of going to school. He repaired roads, dug wells, and sent food to widows. His love for humanity seemed to have no end. But even the strongest man has a weakness. Chief Peter had only one son, his heir, his treasure, the child he cherished more than life itself. One day, tragedy struck. His son fell critically ill with kidney failure. Machines kept him alive, and doctors told Chief Peter, only a kidney transplant can save him. Chief Peter searched everywhere for a match, but found none. In his desperation, he called his people together. At the town square, he stood before the crowd with tears in his eyes, holding up a photo of his son lying helpless on life support. "My people," he pleaded, "I have saved many lives among you. Today, it is my only son who needs saving. He needs a kidney. If anyone can help, I will reward you beyond measure. Go home and think. In 7 days, return with your decision." For 7 days, the town was restless. At first, some hearts were willing. But as hours turned to days, fear took over. "What if I die? What if I never wake from surgery?" Many whispered. Slowly, their minds grew cold. On the 7th day, the entire community assembled again at Chief Peter's company hall. His voice trembled as he asked, "Has anyone decided to help my son?" Silence. No one moved. Not a single hand was raised. Chief Peter begged, his voice breaking, "Please, my people, help me save him." Still, the crowd was quiet. His heart sank. He turned to leave, bitter and broken. Then suddenly, a loud, clear voice pierced the air. "I will give him my kidney." The crowd gasped, heads turned, and there, rolling forward in a wheelchair, was a beautiful light-skinned lady, a stranger no one had ever seen before. She was crippled, but her eyes shone with fierce courage. Chief Peter froze in shock. "Who are you, and are you sure?" he asked. "What if you do not survive the operation?" She lifted her chin and answered, her voice steady. "I have heard of your kindness, Chief Peter. I know how you have saved countless lives. If I die, saving your son, then bury me. But grant me only one wish. Name your first granddaughter after me." "My name is Precious." The crowd murmured in disbelief. Who was this mysterious woman? Why would a crippled stranger risk her life for a man she never knew personally? Was she sent by fate? Or was there a hidden story behind her sacrifice? Chief Peter, shocked and curious, asked softly, "Who are you?" "I will tell you my story, but first, let us save your son's life." Chief Peter nodded slowly, then turned to the crowd. "My people, I thank you. May God bless you for witnessing this day." He dismissed them and wheeled Precious gently into his mansion. But the moment Precious entered his living room, she froze in shock. There, sitting comfortably on a sofa, was the young man she had seen in the picture, the son she believed was dying. Healthy, breathing, alive, her eyes widened. What is happening? "Chief, is this not your son? Why is he here, looking so well?" The crowd outside was gone, the room held only silence. Chief Peter leaned back and laughed softly, not the laughter of mockery, but of a man with secrets too heavy to carry. He said gently, "Precious, I will explain everything in due time. But for now, tell me about yourself. Who are you, really?" Precious swallowed hard, her voice trembling yet steady enough to open wounds of the past. "I am from Igolo, she began. When I was a child, I lost my parents. My uncle took me in, but instead of care, he abandoned me. I grew up in pain, crawling through life with no one to call my own. People mocked me because of my crippled legs. I begged to eat, I slept in corners, and I survived only by the kindness of strangers. Her voice cracked, and her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Chief Peter, when I heard of your son, I thought to myself, if this man who saved so many could lose the only one he loves, what justice is left in the world? That is why I offered my kidney, because I know what it feels like to lose everything. Chief Peter's smile faded into something unreadable. He stared at her, the silence stretching, his mind holding truths he wasn't ready to speak. When Chief Peter sent Precious overseas for surgery, she thought it was only for safety checks before donating her kidney. But the truth was different. For the first time in her life, Precious lay on a hospital bed not as a patient pitied, but as a woman loved, valued, and given a second chance. Skilled doctors operated on her crippled legs. Days turned into weeks of treatment, physiotherapy, and healing. Then came the morning she took her first step. Not with crutches, not with a wheelchair, but with her own two legs, steady and strong. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Nurses clapped. She fell to her knees, not in weakness but in thanksgiving. She whispered, God, you remembered me. After all these years, you remembered me. But one evening, inside Chief Peter's private study, Precious finally asked the question that had burned in her heart. Chief, why did you do it? Why lie to your people about your son's illness? Why choose me, a crippled stranger, for such a test? Chief Peter stood silent for a long while, staring at a large portrait of his late wife on the wall. His shoulders sagged under the weight of memory. Then he sighed deeply and spoke with a trembling voice. Precious, I have spent my life helping others, but in truth, I wanted to know if people loved me back, or if they only loved my money. I wanted to test the heart of my community. When my wife died years ago, I gave them everything: hospitals, schools, roads. But when I fell sick myself, not one person came to see me. Not one. They said, he is rich, he will take care of himself. His eyes grew misty. I realized something painful that day. People love your wealth, not you. So I told myself, if I pretended my son was dying, maybe someone would prove me wrong. Maybe someone would show me that humanity still has a heart. But 7 days passed, Precious, and nobody came. Not even one. Precious's lips trembled, but she stayed quiet, letting him pour his heart. That day I almost lost hope in mankind, Chief Peter continued, his voice breaking. But then you came. A stranger. Crippled. Someone with every reason to stay silent. Yet you spoke boldly. I will give him my kidney. You had nothing, but you offered everything. And in that moment, I knew, God had sent you to remind me that true love still exists. He wiped his face slowly and added, I never wanted your kidney, Precious. What I wanted was your story, your courage, your heart. That is why I sent you overseas, not to cut you open, but to give you back what life stole from you. Your legs, your dignity, your tomorrow. Precious burst into tears. She knelt at his feet, clutching his hands. Chief, I don't deserve this, I was nobody. But Chief Peter lifted her chin gently and said, no, Precious. You are somebody. You are proof that love can still be pure, even when the world grows cold. You gave me back my faith in people. And for that, I will honor you all my life. The room fell silent, but it was the kind of silence that heals wounds. That night, Precious wept herself to sleep, not out of sorrow but out of joy. For the first time in her life, she was seen, valued, and cherished. And Chief Peter, he finally felt peace. For in saving one broken woman, he had also saved himself from a world where love seemed lost. Chief Peter's announcement shook the whole community like thunder. In 20 days, my son will choose his wife. From that moment, every young lady in the land lived in restless excitement. They practiced their dance steps, polished their smiles, and wore the finest beads their families could afford. For them, marrying the chief's only son meant a life of wealth, power, and prestige. The long-awaited day finally arrived. The compound of Chief Peter was filled with people. The drummers beat hard, their rhythms shaking the air. The maidens lined up in colorful attires, their anklets jingling as they displayed graceful dancing steps. The crowd cheered loudly as each girl tried to outshine the other. Chief Peter sat proudly with his son beside him. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the young heir, wondering who he would choose. But then, just when the drumming reached its peak, the compound grew silent. All eyes turned to the pathway as a figure slowly walked in. It was Precious. She was no longer the crippled girl they once pitied. She was radiant, clothed in an elegant designer gown that shimmered in the sunlight. Her dark flowing hair fell gently over her shoulders. Every step she took was steady, graceful, confident. The crowd gasped in disbelief. Some rubbed their eyes as though they were seeing a spirit. Is this not the girl that was once crippled? They whispered among themselves. Chief Peter rose to his feet and lifted his hand, silencing the murmurs. His voice carried authority, but also warmth. My people, today you came to witness the choosing of a wife for my son. You have danced. You have displayed beauty. But I must tell you, beauty alone is not enough. Wealth alone is not enough. Fame alone is not enough. What truly matters is the heart. He turned to Precious and smiled. This young lady, he said, pointing at her, is the one with a heart of gold. When she thought my son was dying, she offered her life to save his, though she was a stranger, though she herself had nothing. She willingly wanted to help, and in return, she was helped. As you can all see today, her broken legs are whole again. The crowd murmured in awe, some even clapping. Chief Peter continued, my son was never sick. It was all a test of love, compassion, and sacrifice. And among all the maidens, only one heart shone pure. That heart belongs to Precious. Therefore, she deserves to be my son's wife. The young maidens who had danced with so much hope stood frozen, their smiles fading into shock and disappointment. The drums stopped. The people gasped. Precious, overwhelmed with tears, bowed her head. She could hardly believe that the same community that once saw her as nothing now watched her being lifted higher than she ever dreamed. And as Chief's son stepped forward, taking her hand gently before the crowd, it became clear, true love is not measured by beauty or riches, but by the willingness to give, even when you have nothing. The news of Chief Peter's decision spread quickly across the community and beyond. People talked in markets, in farms, and in the streets. The crippled girl is now walking. She offered her life for the chief's son. And now she will be his wife. Months after Chief Peter's announcement, Precious returned home. But this time, she did not come back as the abandoned, crippled girl her uncle had rejected. The sound of car horns filled the quiet village. People rushed out of their homes, curious to see who was arriving in a long convoy of shining cars. The vehicles stopped at the village square, and the door of the first car opened slowly. All eyes turned, and hearts stopped. Precious stepped out, dressed in a fine gown, her legs steady and strong. She walked gracefully onto the ground where she once crawled and begged for food. The villagers gasped, their mouths wide open. Some screamed her name, others clapped and sang. Women ululated with joy. Children danced around her. But the greatest shock was on the face of her uncle. The same man who had once cast her aside now trembled where he stood. His eyes widened as though he was seeing a ghost. He could not believe that the girl he abandoned had become whole again, honored, celebrated, and lifted higher than anyone in the village. Precious turned and looked at him. Her eyes held no bitterness, only quiet strength. The villagers gathered and celebrated her, drumming and singing songs of praise. The rejected stone has become the cornerstone. They chanted. Soon, the day of the wedding arrived. The compound of Chief Peter was brighter than ever before. Drummers played joyful rhythms, dancers swayed gracefully, and the air was filled with laughter and excitement. Guests came from near and far, dressed in their finest clothes, eager to witness the union of the chief's only son and the girl with a heart of gold. Precious stepped out in a dazzling white gown, her dark hair flowing like a river of silk. She no longer looked like the abandoned girl from Igolo. She now shone like a queen, walking confidently with joy written all over her face. The chief's son, handsome and radiant, met her halfway. Their eyes locked, and in that silent moment, the whole community saw a love that was genuine and pure. As the ceremony ended, Chief Peter stood before the people once more. His voice was strong, yet emotional. "My people, today I am proud. You all saw with your eyes how compassion lifted a stranger and turned her into a daughter. Precious offered her life for my son, and now my son offers his love for her. I made a promise that if God blesses them with a daughter, she will bear the name Precious, so that generations will remember the sacrifice of this young woman's heart." The people clapped, some with tears of joy in their eyes. And so, the crippled stranger who once rolled into the village on a wheelchair was now walking into a future filled with love, honor, and dignity. Precious and the chief's son were joined in marriage, and their story became a legend told for years, that true beauty lies not in appearance, but in a heart that gives even when it has nothing. Do you think Chief Peter was right to test his people with his son's fake sickness? The end. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Your time means the world to me, and I don't take it for granted. Every view, every like, every comment, they encourage me more than you can imagine. I pray that as you support me, God will support you too. May favor find you, may joy never depart from your life, and may all your dreams come true. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to support my growth. Stay safe, stay blessed, see you next time. Bye bye.